Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. If you are new, a very warm welcome to you. If you are returning, great to have you back. A couple of brief reminders. Please like and subscribe. It helps so much. Also, please join me live on the Everything Classical Music live stream every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST on this channel. We're having a lot of fun, and all are welcome to join in the comments and on camera. The title of today's video is not clickbait. It's something, as I've expanded my vinyl collecting, that I truly believe in. Audiophile quality recordings from the vaunted Yellow Label. Considering what I've said in the past, primarily about many of DG's orchestral records, how can that be? Simple. Chamber music. Let me explain. As I've written and said many times, most DG recordings, especially from the 70s on, suffered from its house sound, primarily influenced by Günther Hermanns, the main engineer, and conductor Herbert von Karajan. I describe the DG house sound as spotlit individuals in a glacial soundstage within clinical halls and imaged with odd perspectives. Recently, I've been told that Karajan, in fact, did not intrude into the playback room, was more hands-off, and that, according to the great Anne-Sophie Mutter, Günther Hermanns was an extraordinarily musical engineer with a great oral aesthetic. Sorry, folks, I'm not convinced. Have a listen to Michael Tilson Thomas's Boston Symphony Rite of Spring or any number of Karajan recordings and get back to me. Luckily for us, the Emil Berliner Studios team are remastering, in association with DG, many of the great performances. Only one chamber music release so far, Gilels' Schubert Trout Quintet, which has received some negative press, but many of the orchestral releases have been superb. Back to collecting these wonderful DG chamber music records. It's good news all around. Some I deem worthy of inclusion on our Audiophilia dream list. They are that good. Also, they are very inexpensive compared to equivalent Deckers, RCAs, and EMIs. Also, the DG artists roster is second to none. This information may be said of their innumerable solo recordings too, but that's for another video. I've got quite a few to show you and tell you about today. If the music fits, you can buy with confidence. As for used records, DG pressings were always very good and their covers are second to none. It's only when you bring the engineering into it, things get murky. No pun intended. But these examples today are uniformly excellent, with focused sound on each solo member of the group, natural hall reverb, most of the locations seem to be a secret, and accurate tonal cues and dynamics. It could have been a personnel choice, but I think smaller groups, less demanding repertoire regarding dynamics, smaller halls, and easier mic placement with fewer chances to fiddle with the sound resulted in DG chamber recordings equal to those of Telefunken, Decca, EMI, and RCA. So let's get to the good stuff. As I mentioned before, you can purchase any of these albums if you're in a secondhand store and the used bins. I wouldn't pay more than $5 for them. If they're $10 and they're clean, well, maybe, but on Discogs, they're going for $5, $10, $15 and the same on eBay. So don't spend a lot of money on these. What I will tell you that all 10 I'm going to show you today are outstanding performances, among the best of their repertoire. And the recordings are very, very fine, beautiful, dynamic, with all the qualities I mentioned earlier. This is the Milos Quartet of Stuttgart's superb performance of Death and the Maiden by Schubert, with the quartet sats as the fourth movement. That's that single movement that Schubert wrote. Isn't that a beautiful cover? This is the Burne-Jones pre-Raphaelite movement painting. It's not a tulip, but it's a lovely recording, dynamic, and a nice sense of the hall. Just another wonderful cover, isn't it? Absolutely fun. It looks like a Bruegel, but done kind of in modern style. Lovely. This is the Yuval Trio. They're a trio from Israel, and they were all in the Israel Philharmonic, or at least the violinists and the viola were. And they were doing music by Dvorak, the Dumpke Trio, very famous piece, and the Smetana Trio, which actually I think is a better work. Again, exceptional playing, beautifully recorded. Not a tulip, but worthy anyway. I think I got this for like $2, and it's on the dream list. It's absolutely exceptional. Give it a good clean, and I think you can have a great record there for not much money. Beautiful repertoire, by the way. Now on to a couple of recordings by the fabulous Boston Symphony chamber players. All the great players on the principal chairs of the Boston Symphony. This is the Claude Debussy one with the violin sonata, the cello sonata, and the beautiful sonata for flute, viola, and harp, and also syrinx for flute solo. And just beautiful cover by Monet. It's the again, it's not a tulip, but it's beautifully recorded. When you hear the opening of the viola, flute, and harp sonata, it's just magical. But this is from 1970, recorded by Günther Hermanns. I guess the boss wanted to go over and get a nice vacation in Boston because he did all the Boston stuff. Anyway, there is another recording I'm going to talk about today in a second, but if you find their Stravinsky one with the Stravinsky octet on, it's the best performance of the Stravinsky octet you'll ever hear. It's just absolutely incredible. But this is wonderful. Beautifully, beautifully recorded and exceptional playing. This is another interesting one from the Boston Symphony Chamber Players, the Dvorak String Quintet in G major, Opus 77. A wonderful work, again beautifully recorded, but this time again by Günther Hermanns, doing his best hands-off approach and letting the players and the hall do the work. Just a wonderful performance. Now, this was also released in 2015 on a Speaker's Corner, which is very, very good. Yes, probably better than the original, done by the Emil Berliner Studios. But you don't need to spend all that money. Spend $5 on this one, and you'll really enjoy it. Everybody Needs a Beethoven Septet. This is from 1964 and recorded by Harold Baudius. Again, no location given. This is by the Philharmonic Octet of Berlin, the Berlin Phil Octet. I think they're mainly the second players, and it's very, very good. There's not many first-class recordings of the septet. This is one of them. And the performance is wonderful, and the recording is first-rate. This one is a tulip. But I'll be honest with you, the sound on all these chamber music ones, whether tulip or not, are very, very fine. Again, this one cost me like $5 in a bin somewhere. I've spoken about this record before. This is the fabulous Haydn Prussian Quartets with the Tokyo String Quartet. This is recorded in 1974 by Carl August Nagler. And the Tokyo Quartet were together a long time. Boy, a superb ensemble. And this is beautifully recorded. This is also on the Audiophilia Dream List. It's just amazing music. I mean, Haydn's quartets are just incredible. I have a few others to recommend, but definitely get this one. This is wonderful. This is a Klaus Scheiber recording from 1972, the Haydn String Quartets, Opus 76, with the Amadeus Quartet. These Amadeus Quartet DG recordings are uniformly amazing. The consistency is pretty staggering because of the amount of repertoire they did. Absolutely wonderful. Lovely recording, dynamic, very sweet violins, great separation between the instruments and allowing the hall to do the work. Highly recommended. You can get this for $2 or $3, this one. And this is a very early Amadeus Deutsche Grammophon. This is a repress because the original was on the Tulip label, and this is not a Tulip, but it's still very fine. Great performance. The recording was from 1960, and no credit is given anywhere about the engineer, either on the record or in Discogs or anywhere. But it's really wonderful, very dynamic. That opening of Death and the Maiden is so dramatic. And most quartets can get it right. But this one and the Milos are superb. If you have $5 in your pocket and you have a choice between the Milos and the Amadeus, I'm going to go Milos because of their just incredible ensemble. But this is also very fine. You won't go wrong with this one. My final two come from a box set of Brahms' chamber music on Deutsche Grammophon. Incredible box set. I got this for like $50 on Discogs, which was great because I needed Brahms chamber music. And I'm going to choose two. One is one of the best performances you'll find, and one is the greatest performance I think ever will be recorded. And we'll talk about those in a second. So apologies for no cover, but I'll give you the label. This is with the Amadeus Quartet, the piano quintet in F minor with Christoph Eschenbach on piano, the most wonderful piano player, and now conductor, as you know. And this is recorded in 1969 by Hans-Peter Schweigmann. Very dramatic with superb piano playing. He's a wonderful pianist. I know. And finally, probably my favorite Deutsche Grammophon chamber music record is the Brahms Clarinet Quintet. Is there anything more beautiful than the Brahms Clarinet Quintet? It's just magnificent. This is with Amadeus String Quartet, playing superbly well. Like the other Brahms, this is also recorded by Hans-Peter Schweigmann, and this is from 1968. But the clarinetist is Karl Leister, principal clarinet of the Berlin Phil for many, many years. His sound is probably the most beautiful clarinet sound I've ever heard. He plays a German system clarinet, which is different than the Yamahas and LeBlancs and Selmers and Buffets that North American and British players use. It's just the most beautiful sound. It's readily available. It's not expensive. That should be in everybody's collection. So that's it. DG's best kept secret, the chamber music. And I could have chosen another 20, 30, 40 LPs. Look, if you're in a record shop and you see a Deutsche Grammophon chamber group and it's in decent shape, just buy it. I mean, if it's a couple of bucks, you're not going to go wrong. Wonderful stuff, wonderful programs, great covers, and superb performances and recordings. And they're cheap. You've got nothing to lose. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.